All the best, Rita.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Vignesh, shall we start?
Yes, you can start.
Yeah. Hello all, welcome and good evening. So today's our topic is best practices for mobile testing. So before going with the topic, would like to introduce myself. So I am Ruta Chintawar. I am working with Encora since last 2 years, and I am having 8 years of experience in manual testing, API testing, and also little bit some knowledge in automation testing. And currently I am working in e-commerce domain. So I am having experience in multiple domain like insurance, e-commerce, then mobile testing and all. So yeah, I think that's it about me. So we can switch to our today's webinar. Let me share my screen. Yeah, I hope my screen is visible. Okay. So our today's webinar topic is best practices for mobile testing. In this, I am going to cover the journey from concept to practice and trends. Okay, so agenda for today's session will be, first we will cover the mobile application testing. So under that we will cover the what is exactly the overview, what exactly mobile testing is. Then we will be covering the types of mobile application. Then we have types of testing. In that we will see the common types of testing which are mandatory when we talk about the mobile testing. Then also we have some additional type of testing which are always beneficial if you do this before going to the before releasing to the market. Then we have challenges of mobile testing. We will be looking into the challenges in detail, like what type of challenges we occur or we face when we perform the mobile testing. Then what could be the solutions over those challenges, those things we are going to cover. Then we have approaches, best practices, and current trends which are running in the market and which can be useful when we talk about the mobile testing. And last would be the Q&A. So let's talk about the mobile application testing. So what is mobile application testing? So mobile application testing is a web-based application, or we can say the it is the testing of developed mobile application in which we test the functionality of the application. Along with functionality, we test the application's quality, performance, compatibility. Then we also check the user experience, and we also check the user experience, and then we come to know about the things that, just 1 second. Yeah, then we will just cover the entire mobile application testing, including all these before it's released into the market. So when we talk about the yeah, so when we talk about the releasing to the market, then we need to cover all these things about the mobile application testing. So in this we can cover the technical aspect, like the whatever the technical requirements are getting covered or not. So we might know, like we might arise the question like why mobile testing is nowadays that much important. So actually, the as we know, the in the current time the use of mobile phones is getting increasing day by day, and people are downloading the application based on the reviews and ratings which are getting for those application. So for example, if we get bad ratings for any application we are going to launch, then obviously it will not get suitable in the market, it will not run, it will not get much popularity in the market. So why this is happening? This is happening because we are lacking somewhere in the testing of mobile applications. So it is always important to cover all the aspects of mobile application testing before releasing to the market, so that it will give the good rating and it will give the good reviews for our application, and we can use those application worldwide if those are applicable. Okay, then that's why there is necessity of mobile application testing nowadays. Then we will talk about the types of applications. So We have three types of mobile applications available in the market. First is the native application. So what is native apps? So it is built for specific OS, or we can say the device. Let's take example of calculator. So generally we have this calculator or notepad, these applications in the inbuilt applications in the mobile. So whatever it could be, it could be the Android OS, it could be the iOS. So whatever the could be the platform or OS, the your application might vary. So we cannot actually in native app what exactly happen. So we have the Android mobile applications or native iOS applications. So they are built for just specific OS. Means, for example, you have built your calculator application for Android, but you want to use that particular application on iOS. So you won't be able to access it because these native applications are made only for particular OS. So we have some pros and cons for this. So pros could be the, because of the singular focus, native apps have advantage of being faster and more reliable in terms of performance. So they have always good performance because they focus on single platform. So that is the main benefit when we talk about the native application. Then we have some cons, like if you start developing the native application, okay, then you have to duplicate the efforts of each different platform. For example, you have developed one application, for example, calculator. Okay, calculator you have developed for Android. Now you want to use that particular calculator application on iOS. Then you won't be able to use same code. You have to duplicate the efforts, and you have to again develop that particular calculator application for your iOS. You can't use the same code which you have used for Android. So that is the most we can say the major drawback of the native application. Then whatever the effort we are going to calculate for a particular application to develop, so that will obviously duplicate, and which will drives the cost. So that is one of the drawback of native application. And when we have particular update for any application, okay, then at that time user has to download the new file and reinstall it again. So that is also second drawback of the native application. Then we have web apps. So web apps, actually these are the similar to native, but they are accessed via web browser on your mobile devices. So these are not the standalone apps, we can say, which have the ability to download and install it on your phone. So these are just accessed via browser. For example, Facebook. So you can just enter the URL in browser, whatever the Chrome, Firefox, whatever browser you can use. So you just need to enter that URL, and then you will be able to see the entire app in browser. So that is the benefit of web application. Then, so what exactly web apps? So these are the actually responsive websites which adapt the UI of particular device or particular browser. So so as I mentioned, there is no option to install your particular web application. These are just progressive web apps. So progressive web apps means PWA. Generally, we call it the PWA. So these are the basically the native apps which are running inside the browser. So that is about the web app. So again, when we talk, so we have some pros and cons for the web apps as well. So pros could be the, as it is web based, there is no need to customize the according to the platform. So as we compare with native, as I mentioned, in native application we need to duplicate the efforts for each platform or each OS, but in web app it is not the case. So here there is single code base, or we can say the single code will be there which we can use for multiple platforms. So that is the benefit of a web application. Then second benefit I can talk about is there is no need to download. So it will not use your phone memory whenever you are downloading any application. So for example, if a native app is there, if you are trying to download the app, it will consume some your phone memory. But in case of web app, it will not happen. What it will do, it will just bookmark your URL of that particular application, and it will save as a home page, like icon of that particular application, and it will show on your home screen. But actually it's not the application that you have downloaded. You have just bookmarked the whatever application you are trying to access, and when you open that particular bookmark or particular icon, you will navigate to browser, and you will be that particular URL will get launched, and you will be able to see your application in browser. Okay. Then we have some cons about the web application. So as I mentioned, this is the dependent on browser. So when we talk about the browser, then we will get idea that if browser is there, then definitely we will need internet to access the browser or to access that URL. So that is one of the main con, because to access this application we always need internet to access this the data. So even if we are able to open this application in offline mode, but if we want to fetch the new data, or if we want to refresh the application, then in that case you will need internet. So else it will show error that there is no internet connection. So that could be the possibility, or we can say that that could be the drawback, because it completely depends on internet. Then another drawback I can say is, for example, as I mentioned, this is browser specific application. Okay. So every device might have different browsers, and so according to the browser UI, or according to the functionalities available in the application, so for there are some features which takes the help of your browser. So it could be the possibility that there are some functionalities available in one browser, but those are not available, or those are not supportive in another browser. So this might give you the different user experiences. So UI might vary according to the browsers. So that could be the another drawback when we talk about the web applications. Then we have hybrid application. So hybrid name itself indicates that it's the combination of both native and web application. So these are the web apps which are actually looks and feel wise the native, but they are not exactly native. They might have same home screen icon, then where they have a responsive design, faster performance, even they are able to work the functioning the offline, but actually they are the native applications, and which looks like a native application. So again, benefits of this application could be the these are quite quick in performance and more reliable, or we can say more economical as compared to native application. So for example, we can say the this type of hybrid applications load very rapidly, like there is a minimal loading speed, or we can say the loading feature. So generally these are type of applications are ideal for usage in countries where we have some poor internet connection, or some in some villages. So generally hybrid type of applications we consider in those areas. So it depends on the requirement, or it depends on the client requirement, where it's mentioned that which type of applications we should use. Okay. This was about the types of applications that we have in the mobile testing. Then let's talk about the types of testing. So all these types of testing which we can see here are the common types of testing which are always considered as a mandatory, we can say, whenever we consider the mobile testing. So first is the functional testing. So functional itself indicating it focuses on the functioning of the app according to the requirements. So I just mentioned about the client requirement, right? So whenever you have the requirements from client in your requirement document, then as a part of functional testing, what you will cross check, you will cross check every requirement is considered in your application or not. You will map every single requirement from your application with the requirement document. So that type of testing we can consider as a part of functional testing. Then we have usability. So usability, the name itself giving us the meaning. The usability means it checks the user friendliness of the application in terms of use and intuitiveness. So user friendliness means, for example, you are accessing any application, okay, and you are facing some difficulties, like you are not trying to understand the navigations, you are not trying to understand the a UI, or you are not getting the language that you have used that in the application. So that could be the part. So that type of testing we can consider as a part of usability testing. So this type of testing always helps to identify bugs to improve the customer experience. Means in this type of testing, a tester will always look, or we can say the always focus on the usability of that particular application, like whether it's usable or whether it's easy to use or not, that we can check as a part of this testing. Then we have compatibility. So it is the kind of non-functional type of testing which is used to ensure that that app is working seamlessly in different operating system, devices, network environments, and specific internal hardware specification. So we will check the, in short, we will check the compatibility of your application on different devices, then on different system, different OS. So all these things we will do as a part of this testing. Then we have performance. So performance means here we will be checking the how the application behaves or performs under some particular load. So generally we have 4 to 5 types of subtypes of performance testing. First is the load testing. So it is done to check the application behavior under normal and extreme load. So what we will do in load testing, we will give some normal or extreme load to the application, and then we will check the behavior of our application, like how it's behaving, whether it's crashing or not, whether it's whether there is some slowness or not. So those things we will check as a part of load testing. Then we have stress testing. So stress means we will check the application's ability to sustain the stress. It ensures that whether our application is capable to bear undue stress, like suppose we are providing any kind of stress, okay, then we will check the ability that whether our application is able to sustain that stress or not. Then we have stability testing. So it's actually conducted to test the that our application is able to work for a longer period of time within normal load or not. So we will check the time period here, like we will give that particular load for a longer time, and then we will access our application, or we will taste our application behavior in that case. Then we have volume testing. So it is conducted to test our application's performance when subjected to a huge volume of data. So volume means here we are providing huge data at the same time, and then we are checking the application's performance. Then we have concurrency testing. So in concurrency, we will check the application when multiple users are logged in at the same time. So it could be the possibility, right, when we talk about the e-commerce application, so there is a possibility that multiple users might log in at the same time. Then how the our application is behaving, whether it's able to sustaining that particular multiple users or not, whether the it's performing as expected or not. So all these things we cover as a part of performance testing. Then we have security testing. So security testing actually tests the user's personal data, and it tests the app behavior under various device permission requests. So we generally have the a permission request, right, like when we download any application, that particular application ask about the that whether you want to like ability to access your contact list, ability to access your your data, like your gallery data or whatever data of your mobile phone. So it will check the permission. So in that case, how it's behaving and how it is accessing the user's personal data and testing the application. So that thing we do under security testing. Then we have interrupt testing. So interrupt means when we talk about the mobile, we might have multiple interruptions, like we might have the phone call, we might have the SMS, then push notifications, alarm, then we have a low battery, full battery, all these notifications. So so these type of things we consider as the interruptions. So for example, you are accessing your application, and while accessing you receive an phone call, then you pick the phone, and once you you're over with your phone, then again, then what's the behavior, like whether you are able to see your application, whether you are able to see your previous page which were which you were trying to see before the call, and how your application is behaving, like whether it's giving the correct page or not, whether your application is getting closed because of that call or not. So all these type of interruption we generally check as a part of interruption testing. So this was about the all the common types of testing that one should always perform before releasing particular application to the market, or we can say the when we perform the mobile application testing. Then we have some more additional type of testing which are always good if we are performing as a part, or we can say if we are making as a part of mobile application testing. So these are installation testing. So installation testing means the word itself giving us the meaning that if you are trying to install your application, or if you are trying to uninstall your application, then how it is behaving, like whether this installation uninstallation process is going smoothly or not. Then all these things we are considering as a part of installation testing. Then we have localization testing. So localization testing ensures that that application has been adjusted to a target market in terms of language, then in terms of representation, in terms of cultural characteristics of particular region. So for example, Arabic or Hebrew culture has right to left writing, or we can say the China and Africa particular regions use fully logographic or partial logographic writing. So in that case, what developers need to do, developers while coding, uh, developers need to consider all these things as a part of coding. So they need to consider these things for input fields. So and QA team need to test these things are correctly configured or not, or whether these all these cultural characteristics are representing in for particular form or for particular fields in your application or not. So that we need to check. So a main goal of localization testing is to guarantee that application looks and feels most familiar to the users in specific region. So as I mentioned, specific regions means it is region specific. So localization means it is targeting to the particular region or particular area, and then we are developing our application according to that region's cultural characteristics or any specific standardization. So that we consider as a part of localization testing. Then we have internationalization testing. So on the other hand, it is completely opposite to localization. Internationalization means you are making your applications, we can say you are making the adaptability of your application to multiple regions. So your application should get accessible to multiple regions, so it should not be the region specific now in this scenario. So we can take example of Google search page logo. So if you have observed, generally Google search page logo most of time it gets changed. So why it is changing? Because Google is getting handled throughout the world, right? So it is internationalization application. So in that case, what exactly happened? So this logo, particular logo, gets changed according to the important date, or we can say the any holiday or any region specific event. So this logo mainly gets changed. So why they have added this feature? Because that particular application is getting accessed and in multiple regions. So to give good usability, to give good image, or we can say the to good review for your application, this is always a good habit, or we can say the good thing to include in your application if your application is going to access in multiple region. Then we have accessibility. So when we talk about the normal user, along with the normal user, we also have some users with cognitive and physical disabilities. So For example, there are some these type of users try to use your application, then they should be able to access your application smoothly, like there should not be any kind of hurdle or any kind of difficulty to access your application. So in that case we can cover the scenarios like keyboard shortcuts we can add the zooming functions, fonts, then contrast ratio, then we can also add the color settings. So then we can add the tooltips, user guidelines. So all these things we can add in our application, so that it will be able to understand by all types of users, so there will not be any kind of difficulty uh, when such type of users use your applications. Then we have memory leak testing. So most of the applications, or we can say the Android applications, are coded in Java. So fortunately the Java has its own the garbage collection feature, which will delete, or we can say the which will remove the unused memory. But there are some application in which the memory is not getting removed or getting cleared automatically. So what will happen, it will get piled up. So and because of this data this memory will increase in your application, and you might face the crashing of your application, or there could be some possibility of slowness. So this scenario we called as memory leak. But generally this type of testing is advisable when we talk about the unit testing, like we can ask developers to include this type of testing as a part of unit testing, because this comes under white box testing, and testers will perform only black box. So we can ask our developers to include this type of testing. Then we have upgrade testing. So upgrade means for example, you are accessing particular version of your application, okay, and now you have another upgraded version of your application, and you have this with you, and you just try to upgrade your current application. Then while doing this, or we can say that during this upgrading process, what testers can do, we can test that particular application storage data, whatever existing storage data we had, whether it's get retained or not, or whether it's getting lost. So that we can check as a part of this testing. Then also we can check that whatever the session of the users was there, so whether it's getting valid or not, or whether it's showing the login again for user after upgrading your application. Then we can check the backward compatibility of the features. So all these things we can consider as a part of upgrade testing. Then we have storage testing. So storage testing means here we check the how the storage related functionalities are there. For example, there are some application which are or we can say the which store the some data on your hard disk, or retrieve the data from your hard disk, or delete it. So this type of features we have, like let's take example of WhatsApp. So when we download any image from WhatsApp, it will save to your local disk, right, if you have enabled that feature. Then so it will check as a storage testing. So it will also test how the application behaves when there is no storage or low storage available on your device. So this type of scenarios we can consider as a part of storage testing. Then we have exploratory testing. So exploratory means here we will check the functionalities and the usability of the application randomly, like we will just go through the application on random basis, and then we will check the each feature, that whether it's working as expected, and whether it's correct, or we can say the matching with the requirement or not. So that is part of exploratory testing. Then we have input testing. So input testing means when we talk about the mobile, we have some features like multi-finger inputs, we have voice inputs. So voice inputs means you are just accessing the data according to the voice. So if we have some external noise in the background, then we can test the whether your particular voice is getting detected by the device or by the application or not. So we can also check the finger gestures, whatever the supported by application. So this type of scenarios we can consider as a part of input testing. So This was about the all the additional types of testing that we have as a part of mobile testing. Then let's talk about the challenges. So as I mentioned, like whenever testing is there, there could be the possibility that we might face some challenges, or we can say that we will definitely face some challenges. So let's talk about the challenges that generally we get when we have mobile testing. So first is the too many devices globally. So as you know, currently in the market we might have more than 1.2 billion devices or types of mobiles in the market. So what will happen, so if you try to test your application on all the devices which are available in the market, so do you really think it's possible to taste all the applications, or we can say the whatever your current application on all available devices? No, right? So it's not possible to cover all the devices. So this is the main, or we can say the major challenge we are facing as a part of mobile testing. So because we have multiple devices and it's not possible to test each feature on every devices, because it will take the much time, and that much time we never have when we talk about the testing. Then we have device fragmentation. So device fragmentation means, as I just mentioned, we have a huge amount of devices available, right? So again, when we talk about the devices, then we also have the different operating system, like Android OS, Windows, iOS. So all these type of different operating system we have. Then again, your devices will get divided into multiple operating systems. Again, your fragmentation will increase, right? You need to consider your testing of your application on particular device, then on particular all the OS which are available. Then again, we have some versions in the operating system, like we have multiple iOS versions, we have multiple Android versions. So again, tester has to test that particular application on different versions, so it is very time consuming. So this is also one of the biggest challenge that we are facing when we are testing the mobile testing, when we are doing the mobile testing. Then we have different screen sizes. So again, multiple devices, multiple operating system, then again versions of operating system, and again different sizes. So every like it might be possible that every OS version will have different screen sizes. So it happens because the user demand is getting increasing day by day, and this we need to adjust the screen resolutions, we need to adjust the screen sizes to attract the more range of consumers. So that is the we can say the challenge that we are facing nowadays, because of all these huge amount of devices available. Then we have some one more challenge as a numerous type of applications. So in earlier slide we have seen the types of applications like native, web, and hybrid. So again, we need to consider all these things also as a part of your mobile testing, and also this is also becoming the challenging because of this. Then we have one more challenge as mobile network bandwidth. So for example, your we can say this type of testing, or we can say this particular challenge is very significant as a part of mobile application testing, because nowadays users are expecting high speed mobile applications that the backend team must ensure, right? So for example, if you're trying to access the application and you are facing like a lot of slowness, like there is only loading on your application, then obviously you will not use that application, right? So that's why I said that expectations are increasing and users are expecting high speed mobile application. So as a tester, we always need to test our application on different mobile bandwidths. So for example, any application which fumbles to produce the faster result also performs poorly in terms of data communication. So for example, there is low network bandwidth for your application, and then what will happen, there will be some lag between the data exchange between the end user and the server. So that's why it could be the bad performance, or we can say the bad image for your application. So it is always necessary to test our application on different mobile websites and different various networks, so that testing team can check the response time in each case. So this will make our process more efficient, and we can have more sustainability in terms of this challenge. So this is also one of the challenge that we are facing. Then we have mercurial user expectation. So just before I mentioned, right, that user expectations are increasing. So what exactly happening, companies are employing the different variations to affect the, or we can say to attract the audience. So that's what user expectations increasing, and companies are trying to satisfy the users, and again more variations are coming with devices, screen sizes, then versions, then again different variations. So that will happen. So again, this is the challenge that testers are facing, or we can say the users are facing. And because of the new updates which are coming in the market, we have to consider all those updates all the time. Like for example, any new version is updated, or any new version is launched in the market, then again I we need to consider particular that version as a part of testing. So that is become challenging nowadays. Then we have a seamless user experience. So when we talk about the user experience, so actually what's happening, so the different things are coming from the smartphones. So companies are coming with the different variations, as I mentioned. And then success of any application mainly depends on how creative, how contextually specific, and how well defined the user interface is. So this is mainly very important as a part of seamless user experience. And if we have all these things, then we can say that yes, our application is good to go, or it is good for users to use. So to ensure all these things, it is making quite challenging for testers or developers to get this sustainability in the type of this application. Then we have some security concerns. So when we talk about the mobile testing, so they are easier to access the cache actually. So mobile devices are more prone to breaches because they have simpler access to the cache. So that could be the one of the security concerns for mobile testing. Then we also have poor encryption. So encryption actually the first wall between the user data and these particular cyber attacks. So if we have poor encryption for our mobile application, then it is not good as a part of mobile testing. We always need to ensure that encryption is at better level, and there is no kind of encryption we have missed to add for personal data. So that we need to check. And that we can also check as a part of coding, like developers need to add some more coding encryption techniques or features while coding the application. And then testing team can verify that encryption is working as expected or not, so that we can check. Then again we have strict deadlines. So as I mentioned, like user demands are often like overbearing. So companies are just running through strict deadline, like they have very tight schedule. Like they have to deliver the apps, they have patchworks, they have bug fixes, then they also have upgrades. So all these requirements that we need to cover, or that we need to consider for developer and testing team. So this is very we can say the tedious task. And this is making the developers and testing teams on their toes, and they always try their best to get these things in within deadline. But yes, again, this is one of the challenge that we are facing. Then heavy battery usage. So heavy battery usage means, for example, your application is using heavy battery, and this is causing your application is getting uh, shut down very easily. Like your phone is getting shut down quickly. So that could be the possibility that your application is using heavy battery usage. So this type of testing also we need to consider. Then we have many application testing tools available in the market. So but there is no single tool in the market which fits all our requirements. So we might need to purchase or subscribe many types of tools to achieve all these challenges or all this type of testing, but which is not feasible, right? So you cannot subscribe or you cannot buy all the plans which are available in the market. So to find any single particular tool which can fulfill our all requirements, it's not possible. So that is also one of the challenge we are facing nowadays when we perform the mobile testing. Then we will talk about the solutions. So as I mentioned, we have multiple solutions available in the market. So when we talk about the compatibility testing, we have some tools like lambda test, browser stack, functionize, testing bot, then cross browser testing. So this type of tools we can use when we will be performing the compatibility testing. Then we have UI testing tools. So Xamarin, UI Test, Espresso. So these type of tools we can use when we mostly focus on UI. Then we also have cloud-based mobile application testing tool. So which are the AWS Device Farm, then Firebase Test Lab, then Xamarin Test Cloud, Cobiton, Perfecto, Sauce Lab. So these type of tools are available in the market, and according to the requirement, we can utilize these tools and we can complete our mobile testing. Then we have regression testing tool, like when we talk about the regression which will reduce our repetitive task, right? So Selenium is the best tool in the market, then Catalan Studio, then Test Drive, Test Sigma. So all these type of tools we can always use according to the requirement and according to the discussion with client, and we can reduce our time, and we can come over the all the challenges that we have seen in last slide, and we can cover those challenges with the help of all these tools. Then now we will talk about the approaches. So what are the best approaches we can consider when we consider the uh, mobile application testing? So first is the outlining the process. So what exactly outlining the process means? For example, whenever you will get the build from your developer for your particular application, so before getting that particular build for testing, what you can do, you can just outline the list of the cases, like cases means scenarios that you are going to cover as a part of testing. We can create the test plan for your mobile application, and we can outline the all the scenarios that we are going to test, and then we can briefly describe the test cases. Then we have the choosing the type of mobile test to run. So according to the type of test case, we can choose like whether that particular test case we can run manually or we can run automated. So we can do as a part of mobile application testing process. So that we can do. Then we have preparing test cases for different functionalities. So when we talk about the applications, the functionalities will vary according to the each application, right? So there could be the two approaches we can follow. First is the requirement based testing. So it is mainly specifically focusing on the particular specific features which are need to test. So here we will test the performance of specific app features that we will consider as a requirement based testing. Then we have second approach, which is business scenario based testing. So in this we will be focusing only on the business requirement, like we can say business prospective testing is generally done under business scenario based testing. Then we have manual testing, then we have automation testing. So according to the requirement, according to the type of test cases, we can divide our scenarios into manual and automated. Then we also have performance testing. So here at this stage, what we will do, we will check our application at entire level. Means till now we have tested the performance of our application feature by feature, like for every feature or for every module we have tested the performance. But now it's time to test the application for entire system. So as a part of this testing, we will focus the speed, scalability, stability, then the ability of the application when we provide the high amount of traffic, and how the application is behaving, or whether it's giving any error or a discrepancy. So that we will check under performance testing. So as I mentioned here, we will check the performance of entire application. So this is also one of the approach that we can follow. Then we have security and compliance testing. So there are a lot of security guidelines that mobile applications need to meet. So depending on the features that we have implemented in our application, there are some different data security standards we need to implement. So common security guidelines could be the PCI DSS. So PCI DSS is the type of guideline which is mainly used when we have the data security requirements for accepting the payments. So when we have the feature like payment gateway we have in the application, like we are processing the payment, we are doing the payment. Okay, so in that case we need to consider this guideline. Then we have HIPAA generally guideline generally we use when we have healthcare applications which collect, store and process the medical data. So at that time we can consider this type of guideline. Then we have the final version release. So as a part of final version release, we will be testing the entire application before releasing to the market. Like we can see the final testing we will be doing here. From end to end testing, we will just cross check that whether it's done as expected or not, whether there is any issue, whether there is any discrepancy. So all this testing will be done before the final version release. So these are the approaches we can include as a part of mobile testing. Then we will talk about the best ways to complete the testing, or we can say the best practices that one should include whenever we talk about the mobile testing. So first could be the select the right devices to perform the testing. So as I mentioned, it will depend on the your requirement. Like for example, you have requirement for only iOS testing, right? Then you will not waste your time in doing testing for Android. You will mainly focus on the iOS. So it will define the right device to perform testing. So it will mainly depend on the your requirement, like whatever client requirement you have from your client. Then according to those, you will choose your particular device, OS, then OS version. So all these things will vary according to the requirement. Then we have best practice as perform early testing and define test scope in detail. So when we consider the early testing means generally it is a type of testing, or we can say it is the best thing to include the testing at early stage, like whenever developers are developing their code or developing the application. They can provide some units to testing, like we can say the part testing we can do. So that will always give the best scope for us, and which can reduce the bugs later in the market or later in the process. So this type of testing strategy we can ensure and we can follow as a part of this particular best practice. So along or we can say what exactly we can do. Testing can be taken up along with the development side by side, and once the development is done, developers will provide that particular developed feature, then we will perform testing, and we will try to find the bugs and discrepancy, and we will report it immediately. So this will reduce the time, and it will also reduce the bugs at the later stage. So and it will also reduce the cost that involved in that particular process. Then testing on real devices. So like we have talked about emulators, simulators, then we have these multiple tools available in the market which are always helpful and useful for the testing. But it is also equally important to test your application on real mobile devices. So this type of real testing will always give you the confidence before releasing to the market. So make sure that whenever you are giving sign off for your testing, make sure that at least you have covered some basic real devices for your testing. That is always good to consider. Then we have performance and security testing. We have already covered the security testing, performance testing, right? So make sure we are making this type of testing as a part of your best practices. Then we can check the battery consumption of your application, whether it is consuming more battery or not. We can check as a part of cross checking this point. Then again we will be checking the access, like do we have global access or not. This also we can check as a best practice of mobile testing. So yeah, this was about the best practices. Now let's talk about the latest trends which are available in the market. So there are many trends going on, or we can say there are many latest tools available in the market which we can use to complete our mobile application testing, which will reduce our time for testing, also which will give the better customer experience as a part of testing. Okay, so we can use, but yeah, as I mentioned, again it will depend on the requirement. So it will always be depending on your requirement, that what type of requirement we have. Then accordingly we can choose the types of applications or types of tool which are available in the market. So first trend we can say is the cloud app testing. So what exactly the cloud app testing? So actually this is the tool available in the market which enables the developers and QA experts to test their application on a wide range of devices and operating system. Okay, so in this case there is no need to purchase particular devices in reality. Like there is no need to maintain your devices physically. So you can just use that particular cloud app testing tool. You can log in into that application and you can select your device, and then you can enter your application URL, and then you can perform the testing. So in this case there is no need to purchase the application, sorry, purchase the device, hard device with you, and this, you can just use the tool and you can test your application. So this type of testing can help companies save time, resources, and allow the QA teams to quickly and easily ensure that their applications are compatible with a wide range of devices. So this type of testing is also suitable for small and large development teams. Then when we use this type of testing tool, it is giving the we can say the it is easy to track and analyze the results through the testing platform. So it is giving the better results at the same time. Then so because of the this tool's convenience and cost effectiveness, it is making it more attractive option for many enterprise worldwide. And it is the when we say that we are adapting this particular tool, it will definitely give us the good result, and it will definitely reduce our time. Then we have another trend which is in the market, which is specific for the cost reduction. So we have AI and data science based application tools available in the market, which will reduce our the cost. So artificial intelligence and data science are the latest advanced technologies that use predictive models to identify and analyze the different features of application for testing and preparing the test plan. So this type of testing or this type of tool can use to identify or fix the performance related issues, then functional issues, then improve the user and customer experience, then optimize the app performance. So this type of scenarios we can always fulfill when we use this type of tool. Then in 2023, like data science is the popular technology which we are using or which can be used in the mobile application testing to analyze the large set of data and get the actionable insight on that. So this technology we can help, or we can say will help both developers and tester to understand how to interact with the application and how to identify the areas of improvement. So that we can get when we talk about these AI based tools. Also, when we have like recession challenges, right, we have some employee shortages, we have some budget constraint, we have like many other limitations when we have, so we can consider these AI tools as a part of our testing, and we can help the global companies and perform the QA process for the complex system with with less minimum resources available, so which will reduce our cost and improve the accuracy of the testing. Then we have scriptless automation testing, which will reduce the human involvement. So scriptless means this is the type of tool which will create your scripts automatically. Like for example, you are accessing your application and you are just going through the each feature navigation. Okay, so what it will do, it will record your navigation and then automatically it will create script for you. So there is no need to write the scripting manually for your application, so which will definitely reduce human involvement and human efforts. So is, and once that recording is done, we can use those script ready for the testing, and we can reuse those particular script in future for our testing. So that is also one of the good trend which we can use uh, to help our mobile application testing go smoothly. Then we have the security is always on the top priority. As I mentioned, security testing is always good to include to reduce the cyber attacks. We can cross check that. We have multiple tools available in the market. Then we have CI/CD for increased quality of mobile application, which is continuous integration and continuous development tool. So that we can implement. Then we have shift left testing for reducing time to the market. So shift left testing means it is the testing approach used by organizations in which various testing procedures are moved to earlier stage in the SDLC life cycle. So for example, we have already covered this point, right, that testing can be included at earlier stage. So at the when development is going on parallelly, we can start the testing process. Whatever developed modules are there, we can start testing those. So we can in short we can introducing the testing at early stage, which through which we can reduce the bugs, and through which definitely we can reduce the time to the market. Then we have mobile app quality as a marketing tool. Then we have 5G in the market right now, so we can include the 5G testing. Then we have accessibility testing to increase the accessibility. So as I mentioned, we along with normal users, we also have some special type of users. So it is always good to include this type of testing as a part of your mobile testing, which will give the good accessibility throughout the world. Then we have geolocation testing for enhancing app performance worldwide. So it is also good to include the testing as a part of geolocation. So it will just check the app performance worldwide, like how it's behaving. So that is also good to include. So yeah, so this was about the trends that are currently going on, and it is always good to include this type of trends when we are doing the mobile application testing. Yeah, I think that's it about the today's topic. We have covered almost the all the detail things that we need to cover, or we can say that we need to consider when we talk about the mobile application testing. So thank you all. Thanks for being here. Any questions do we have?
No questions for today.
Okay.
So we can close. And thank you so much for taking the time. That was a very insightful and in-depth session. And really, you covered a lot of ground.
Yeah. Thank you so much, David.
Thank you, Rita. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.